Behind their friendly smiles and caring eyes is something you would never suspect. A hidden intention that quietly chips away at your life, one innocent question at a time. Witchcraft today doesn't announce itself with strange rituals, eerie chants, or bizarre symbols. Instead, it slips silently into your life, disguised as simple conversations, friendly advice, or sincere curiosity. But pause right here. This isn't a flashy reel or an amusing TikTok meant to entertain you for a few quick seconds. This is something serious, something real, something happening closer to you than you realize. If you're here seeking quick laughs or casual entertainment, this might not be for you. But if you've been sensing something isn't right lately, an unexplained heaviness, anxiety creeping in from nowhere, or a disturbing feeling you can't shake, then you might be facing something you've never even considered. So watch until the end, because today, inshallah, you'll gain insights you can't afford to miss. This isn't about being dramatic. It's about being protective, careful, and informed. It might just save you or someone you love from subtle dangers you've overlooked. Let's get started. Number 1, do you trust me completely? It begins innocently enough. A close friend, a beloved family member, or even someone you've grown comfortable with online. They lean in gently, their voice soft and reassuring, and ask you, do you trust me completely? At that moment, you might feel valued, special, even safe. After all, what harm could possibly come from trust? Yet, let's pause and consider something carefully. Why are they seeking unconditional trust without clear boundaries or reasoning? Trust, when freely and blindly given, can open doors you never intended. You might find yourself revealing vulnerabilities, secrets, or deeply personal aspects of your life without even realizing it. You see, genuine trust grows naturally, built through consistent actions, reliability, and proven sincerity, not demanded in casual whispers or emotional conversations. But manipulators and witches often use this simple yet powerful question as their first subtle tool to weaken your defenses. Once trust is blindly granted, you're no longer guarding yourself. You've handed someone else control over your emotional well-being. In Islam, our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us wisdom regarding trust. He said, tie your camel first and then put your trust in Allah. Trust in people should be cautious, mindful, and balanced, not reckless or unconditional. Complete trust belongs only to Allah, because humans are naturally imperfect and capable of harm, even unintentionally. So the next time someone softly asks if you trust them completely, take a moment to reflect deeply. Realize that trust is precious, and once freely given, it can become a chain you might find very difficult to break. Number 2, can I see something personal of yours? They won't always ask directly. Sometimes it starts with a playful laugh. Hey, I love that ring, can I try it on? Or they'll say something like, do you still have that photo from your childhood? I just want to see it for a second. On the surface, it sounds harmless, generous even. But think about it. Why would someone need access to something that carries emotional or physical closeness to you? Here's a question most people never ask themselves. Why do certain people only ask to borrow things that are personal, sentimental, or spiritually connected to you? Your scarf, your jewelry, a shirt you wore recently, even something as simple as your handwriting. These aren't just objects. They're energetic footprints, and when placed in the wrong hands, they become tools. In many real-life cases of black magic and spiritual manipulation, it all began with someone borrowing a small item that held emotional weight. A perfume bottle, a piece of hair from a comb, a photo from an old album. These objects often become direct links used in sihr, witchcraft rituals, to spiritually target a person without their knowledge. Most people don't think twice when handing over their belongings, especially if it's someone they know well. But that's where the danger lies. Shaitan doesn't show up wearing horns. He whispers through comfort, through people you trust, through moments that feel ordinary. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us clearly. Whoever goes to a fortune teller or a soothsayer and believes what he says has disbelieved in what was revealed to Muhammad. This shows how serious it is to open spiritual gateways, even unintentionally. Giving away something personal can sometimes hand over a spiritual doorway. So ask yourself the next time someone casually asks, "Can I borrow this?" Just for a bit. What's the reason? What's the pattern? Do they only take but never return? Do they ask when you're vulnerable or distracted? You don't need to become paranoid, but you do need to be conscious. Because protecting what's yours is part of protecting yourself. And once something leaves your hands, you never know whose hands it really ends up in. Number 3. What time were you born exactly? This question doesn't sound creepy. In fact, it sounds almost charming. What time were you born exactly? Some people even get excited to answer it, assuming it's just a casual lead-in to an astrology joke or personality analysis. But pause and ask yourself, why do they need that level of precision about your life? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Exact birth times are not just used by horoscopes for entertainment. They are often essential for spiritual calculations in witchcraft, sorcery, and dark energy mapping. The time you entered this world marks more than a moment on the clock. In the wrong hands, it's a coordinate that allows spiritual manipulation to begin. We live in a time where astrology apps are downloaded more than Quran apps. People casually believe that planets control their mood or that their zodiac sign determines who they should marry. And yet, many don't realize that these ideas are rooted in shirk. In reality, asking for your birth time isn't about curiosity. It's a ritualistic entry point. In Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it clear, whoever seeks knowledge from the stars is seeking a branch of sorcery. It's not just discouraged, it's forbidden. That alone should make us question why someone, especially a stranger or a distant friend, is so invested in knowing the exact time we were born. The people who ask this question aren't always obvious manipulators. Sometimes it's the person who seems deeply spiritual, or the one who's obsessed with horoscopes and energies. They might act like they're just trying to help you understand yourself better. But what they're doing is opening a path, one that doesn't lead to clarity, but control. Ask yourself, why now? Why this question? Is there a reason someone needs to know your exact entry point into this world? Because once they have it, they're not just guessing your personality. They're positioning your fate, your energy, and your vulnerability on a map they never had the right to touch. And the moment you give them that detail, they no longer need your permission to access what should have remained private. Number 4. Has anyone ever hurt you deeply? It usually comes in the middle of a quiet conversation, not too early, not too late. Just when you're starting to feel comfortable around them, they lean in and ask, "Has anyone ever hurt you deeply?" It sounds like a caring question, like they genuinely want to understand you. But what if it's not about healing? What if it's about collecting pain? See, witches and manipulators thrive on wounds, not to fix them, but to feed off them. The moment you open up about your heartbreaks, betrayals, or personal losses, you give them something far more valuable than information. You give them emotional access. Maybe you're wondering, but what's so dangerous about sharing my story? I've told friends and even strangers before. Isn't that normal? Absolutely. It's human to share. But the danger isn't in the sharing itself. It's in who's listening and why. Some people collect your pain not to support you, but to twist it, to use it as leverage, or worse, to perform rituals where your emotional suffering becomes the anchor. In many real-world cases of black magic, the process begins with a witch identifying a person's emotional weak points. The more pain you confess, the deeper they dig. This is why Islam places so much importance on emotional privacy. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Seek help in fulfilling your needs by being discreet, for everyone who is blessed is envied." Not every ear deserves your truth. Not every question deserves an answer. They'll say things like, "I just want to understand you better," or "I can help you let go of the pain." But their goal isn't release, it's access. And once they enter that emotional space, it becomes harder to shut them out. So next time someone asks about the deepest wound in your life, don't be quick to answer. Step back. Observe. Is their concern consistent, or does it only surface when you're weak? Real helpers ask to support you. Hidden ones ask to control you. And the ones who feed off your pain will always come dressed as the ones trying to take it away. Number 5, will you keep this conversation secret? It sounds innocent, maybe even respectful. Can we keep this between us? Or, don't tell anyone I asked you this. It usually comes right after a deep or personal conversation when your guard is already down. And at first it feels like a sign of trust, like they're letting you into something exclusive. But think again, why the secrecy? In real life, this happens more often than we realize. Maybe it's a coworker who tells you something and says, "Just don't bring it up to anyone else." Or a friend who's suddenly too interested in your private life, always reminding you, "This stays between us." Sometimes it's not even verbal. It's the pressure you feel, the look they give you, the way they make you feel guilty for even thinking of talking to someone else about it. That's not trust. That's isolation disguised as intimacy. People who work with dark intentions, especially witches and spiritual manipulators, know this game well. They want you to feel like the bond you share is too sacred to question, that your silence is proof of loyalty. But in reality, your silence becomes your chain. The more secrets you hold for them, the less clarity you have. You might ask, but isn't it good to keep people's trust and not gossip? Yes, absolutely. Islam teaches us not to expose others or backbite. But Islam never asks you to protect a secret that involves harm, confusion, or emotional pressure. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "There should be neither harming nor reciprocating harm." If secrecy is making you feel trapped, it's not from Allah. There's a difference between privacy and manipulation. Real relationships are built on mutual clarity, not whispered conversations you're not allowed to repeat. If someone asks you to keep a secret that doesn't sit right in your heart, that causes you doubt, stress, or fear, it's not a secret, it's a warning. So when someone leans in and says, "Don't tell anyone I said this," remember this. The truth never fears the light. Only lies and hidden agendas demand darkness. Number 6, have you noticed your prayers aren't answered lately? It doesn't start with a lecture. It starts with concern. Someone looks at you with sympathy and asks, "Why do you think your du'as aren't working?" Have you noticed your prayers feel empty? And just like that, a small seed of doubt is planted. This is where it gets dangerous. Not because questions are forbidden, but because doubts are disguised as care. The worst manipulation isn't when someone screams at your faith. It's when they gently poke holes in it while pretending to help. Let's get real. Everyone goes through moments where they feel disconnected, unheard, spiritually distant. That's human. But when someone picks that exact moment of weakness and whispers, maybe something's blocking your blessings, maybe someone cursed you, maybe it's time to try another way, that's not help. That's a trap. In real life, this often looks like someone offering you an alternate solution, a strange ritual, a secret method, or a visit to someone who knows things. And that's when faith gets sold for shortcuts. Allah addresses this so powerfully in the Quran. And if Allah should touch you with adversity, there is no remover of it except Him. That's it. No middlemen. No spiritual freelancers. Just direct, humble patience in front of Allah. Your prayers may be delayed, but they are never ignored. And anyone who uses your delay as an opportunity to pull you towards something dark, they are not helping you. They are using your heartbreak as leverage. So if someone ever looks you in the eye and asks, "Haven't you noticed your prayers aren't being answered?" Don't answer them. Look inward. Ask yourself instead, am I seeking results or am I seeking Allah? Because when you're truly connected to Allah, even silence feels like a response. And anyone trying to sell you shortcuts in those moments might be the very reason your heart feels so far away. Number 7. Would you do anything to fix your life right now? Here's where things get bold. They stop hinting. They stop pretending. Instead, they look you straight in the eye and ask, would you do anything to fix your life right now? And if you've been struggling, emotionally drained, financially stuck, heartbroken, or just tired of waiting, you might pause. Because maybe you would. Maybe you've already tried everything else, and nothing seems to work. That's when you become vulnerable to the most dangerous offer, the one that promises results without patience. This is the exact pressure point where manipulation takes root. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. Who doesn't want relief? Who doesn't want the pain to stop? In today's world, everyone is chasing instant solutions. Fast is glorified. If a result takes time, people think it's broken. But in Islam, the real power lies not in how fast something happens, but in who you turn to during the wait. Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, "Indeed, Allah is with those who are patient." When someone says, "I can fix this for you. All you have to do is trust me. Follow my steps. Give me something." They're not helping you. They're replacing Allah with themselves. And here's something no one talks about. Once you compromise once, it becomes easier to compromise again. First, it's a name. Then it's a ritual. Then it's a visit to someone who deals in the unseen. Before you know it, you've sold your strength to someone who preys on your desperation. They don't need you to believe in magic. They just need you to stop believing in Allah's timing. That's all it takes. So when someone asks, would you do anything to fix your life? Remember, not everything that works is worth it. Some doors open quickly because they were meant to destroy you faster. Now let's be very clear. This isn't a call to become suspicious of every friend, every relative, or every person who shows care. Islam does not teach us to live in fear of people. It teaches us to live with full trust in Allah and with wisdom when dealing with His creation. Yes, the questions we explored are real and dangerous in the wrong hands. But the solution is not to live in constant paranoia, pointing fingers or doubting everyone who asks something personal. The solution is tawakkul, true trust in Allah, alongside cautious awareness. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Tide the camel before placing trust in Allah." That's the balance. You take your precautions, but your heart remains calm because it depends on the one who never deceives. Allah says in the Quran, "And whoever puts his trust in Allah, then He will suffice him." What does that mean? It means you don't have to lose sleep over who might harm you. You protect your Deen, your dignity, your belongings, but after that, you leave it to Allah. Because no one can harm you unless Allah allows it, and no one can protect you the way Allah can. So no, this video isn't telling you to become paranoid. It's telling you to become aware. Don't hand over your faith, your privacy, or your emotional wounds to people who haven't earned your trust. And above all, never let desperation pull you away from the only source of true healing, Allah. And now, I leave you with a short dua. Say it and type it below in the comments so others can say it too. Ya Allah, protect me from the harm I can't see. If that dua touched your heart, type it in the comments, not just to show support, but to remind someone else they're not alone. And if this video gave you a moment of clarity, Pass it on, like it, share it. Subscribe for more content that protects your heart, sharpens your mind, and strengthens your iman. Because sometimes one reminder is all it takes to change everything.